What's up, guys? Thought I'd just give a little context behind this video. So I actually edited most of this video back in April and May, but I thought it would be fun if I uploaded it on the holiday Juneteenth, if that's how you say it, June 19th, since it more or less correlates with the pivotal moment of this game when Cordis Dia launches their operation. I thought it was just kind of fun since it's 2025 and June 19th, 2025. That's when that moment happens. And as I was editing this video, the crazy tensions and conflict that erupted between Israel and Iran, none of that had started yet as I was editing this video. That only started off in the last 5 or 6 days. So I don't have any satire or analysis about that in this video. And I guess there wasn't really much there was nothing about Israel and Black Ops 2. There was a few things about Iran. Nothing significant though. But I just thought I'd mention that before we dive into this video. I worked a lot on it. I hope you enjoy it and go back and play this game. It's a lot of fun.
What's up, guys? Thought we'd take a look back, given that we've reached the year 2025 and the time frame of the story that Black Ops 2 was set in. So these months right here, April, May, and June of 2025 was the setting. Thought we'd take a little look back on what is it like playing this game in the year 2025.
My father, Alex Mason, gave up everything he had. He abandoned me so he could defend his country from people like you. I hated him for that. But now, here I am, with you.
So we are the same, David. Shaped by those we have lost.
I throw this to the wind. Oh, what if I was right? Well, did you trust your noble dreams and gentle expectations to the mercy of the night? Will always win. The night has darkness on its side. I've thrown this to the wind. I miss your stupid face. I miss your bad advice. I try to clothe your bones with scratchy Super 8s, exaggerated stories and old tunes, but never by the moon, and not the state I'm
Don't
in.
leave me.
The night
Cordis Dia!
always wins.
Sheesh. That is one heck of an introduction right there. I think that this story does a really good job of explaining the method and phenomenon that so many politicians and those that work in government and other forms of any medium, they often forget that for any reaction or movement they push forward, or any action they take, there is a reaction of sorts. And my goodness, this game really dives into the US government's intervention in Latin America all the way back to the Monroe Doctrine, but especially during the Cold War, is not honestly the United States' most bright and shining moment. There's a lot of very layered and hard to justify decisions that the CIA and other components of the US government brought forth and put into action in across Latin America. And the villain, if you recall from this game, is Raul Menendez, who, after essentially losing everything due to US meddling in Latin America, he has had enough.
Such a self-indulgent piece of shit. Stop talking in riddles!
It was taken from me. Do you know what that feels like yet? An American torched the warehouse. For insurance money, $11,000. That was the value they placed on her life. She was the reason for me to live. What about you, David? What drives you?
I can't figure out Menendez without getting inside his head. Salazar, you grew up in Nicaragua during his rise to power. You know his legends better than anyone. Tell me, why does he hate us so much?
Tu primera guerra fría. As a boy, he witnessed the country's rape and murder his people. In 1972, there was a colossal earthquake. His family lost everything. A year later, the only thing he ever loved, his sister Josefina, was crippled in a fire. Raul and his father started over, sold drugs for easy money. They became rich, powerful legends of Managua. The Menendez cartel was all but untouchable, so the CIA took out Raul's father in a US-sanctioned assassination.
Right, so now Menendez fucking hated America and started running guns in Afghanistan for his own private army. CIA got wind of it, went on the hunt for him in Kabul.
Menendez was in Nicaragua. Got that from Kravchenko. He's being offered up on a silver platter by old pineapple face himself, Manuel Noriega. One of the perks of being the president of Panama is that you get to use the army as your own private police force. So, CIA, in their infinite wisdom, they sign off on the deal. The White House, they cut a check for $1 million and everybody takes a victory lap. And off we go to the jungle.
And again, while the political implications and setting of this game are very layered and great, what makes it so well put together is the writing and the storytelling and the characters. My goodness, what happened to Call of Duty, guys? This was 13 years ago, and they have never met the mark since then. It's a darn shame. What can I say? Going along with the characters, I guess that is one thing that is a little bit odd about this game. The characters you play as are old. If Alex Mason and Frank, according to the canonical storyline, if they fought in the Korean War, and then you play as them in Black Ops 1 during the Vietnam era, well, that would mean that by the time we get to the 50s, well, they must have been born in the 30s. So they're old. That would mean that Mason and Frank Woods, they're around 50 years old or older by the time we're playing in the 80s. Same goes for David Mason. If he was 8 in 1988, then that means he's about 50
Boys better get
in
your
the year
shit
2025.
together.
I guess pushing
gonna
50,
attack.
almost 50. Either way, I can overlook it because the story is masterful. Even though you're playing as the characters and experiencing two different settings, it's seamless. It really works together. Other games have tried that, like Assassin's Creed, and they really don't hit the mark. But Black Ops 2, wow, it's phenomenal. And let's take a look a little bit at just these missions in chronological order. Okay, well, pretty crazy. Fighting Afghanistan in the 80s. When this game came out in 2012, the war there wasn't even over yet. My goodness, we're still there for 9 years too long. And pretty awesome portrayal of U.S. action in Afghanistan when the Soviets were there. I really like the moment when Kravchenko emerges from the tank. That cutscene, they exchange blows. Honestly, that scene feels a little bit out of Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Being on horseback, chasing the tank, fighting. Yeah, it's pretty. Feels pretty similar. And then when we go to the present, or at the time the game came out, the future, wow, this game really predicted a lot of things about the world we live in now. There's a Cold War against China. A supply chain, a vital supply chain, is owned by China.
While we're f***ing around the Middle East, the Russians and the Chinese are getting real cozy. Now, the politicians, they want you to think this is about ideology. It's a lot of horse shit. Give me your phone. Go ahead. Rare earth elements. Whole fucking world runs on this shit. Who controls all of it? China. Jeez. So while corporate America is kissing China's ass,
now the mysterious Cortes Diaz social network has crowdsourced simultaneous protests in both Iran and North Korea. Never seen in public, who really is the leader of Cortes Diaz? He's known only as Odysseus.
Odysseus? My ass. Raul Menendez. Asshole. I told JSOC, but they were too busy. See, the drone race had started. I mean, really, guys? You're gonna build an entire military based on a mineral element that's wholly controlled by China?
Wow, we hear about that a lot. And if I might add, Taiwan, which China pretends is part of China still. Wow, there's quite an important supply chain there that's completely owned and operated by Taiwan. Semiconductors, microchips. Hot dang, that sounds familiar. Then in a few other missions here, we go through the border regions of India. It's not Kashmir per se, but it's still pretty reminiscent of what was going on between India and Pakistan within the last month. You go, heck, Lahore, Pakistan, if that's how you say it. That's near Kashmir.
It is retribution, according to India, for an attack in the Kashmir region.
The Karma mission is really fun. Probably one of the best missions in Call of Duty.
DeFalco has Karma. We're in pursuit. We need you to track their movements, Fareed. We can't let them get off the ship.
I like that moment where you're walking around and the advertising changes based on if your character's near the products or the advertising. Reminds me a lot of that moment from Minority Report. And wow, I guess, I don't know if we see that per se in the world today in the way that's portrayed exactly in this game, but how many times a day do we see an ad or find something on social media that's really tailored to what we were just talking about, maybe in just a phone call or whatever it may be. It's definitely a real thing. The moment you control the cookie robot from Despicable Me. Oh man, what an awesome mission. And again, we haven't even dived into the different endings this game has. The game is so replayable. There's a handful of moments that if something goes a different way, it changes the whole way the game plays out. That's great.
There's our evac site. Woo! Finally.
Oh shit, now what? Man, come on! You don't got the stones to fucking shoot me! You betrayed us, Fareed. And for what?
Then you got the real-time strategy-esque missions that are so fun, and there's just so many different ways to experience this game. A route that Call of Duty has yet to return to, which is sad. So much more thought and passion went into this game.
Focus fire on the enemy.
I prefer if you let DeFalco escape on the mission Karma. I think it makes the subsequent cutscenes and moments in the campaign a lot more cinematic. Seeing the relationship between Menendez and DeFalco and their
I'm one step ahead of you.
brotherhood of vile grievances feels really immersive, and given everything happening in the world today, it feels a bit sobering and realistic.
Kill it. Yeah, that's it. Kill me, egghead.
Anything wrong?
And you spineless piece of shit, getting others to do your dirty work. What kind of man are you? Huh?
Oh man, Panama. We haven't even talked about Panama yet. In recent months with the current administration, Panama has become quite relevant, I must say. There was some fear that perhaps the U.S. would invade Panama for a second time, which, let's be real, most Americans, unless they play this game, don't even know that happened at one point. And I must say I really like the idea presented here in the game that the reason that the U.S. government actually went in to take out Noriega was because he was operating and had betrayed U.S. interests and was operating with Raul Menendez.
They killed my father to get to you.
There's no clean shot with that guy.
Hey! What happened in Panama?
I was pretty sure we got him in Nicaragua. About a year later, he shows up in Panama with that piece of shit Noriega. That's the last straw for the CIA. The orders come down from George H.W. for a snatch and grab.
Targeting Noriega because he was in league with a terrorist and had betrayed our interests with Menendez. In truth, that feels a lot more believable and honestly justified than what actually happened. In reality, the U.S. government's justification for invading Panama is a bit odd. Noriega himself must have felt pretty confused. How on earth could we have been pals with him and he was helping us in X, Y, or Z during the Cold War? Cold War ends, all of a sudden he's inconvenient. I bet Saddam Hussein felt much the same way around this exact time in global history. Then we got the missions in Yemen. You go there on the strike missions, and then you play as Fareed. And my goodness, this scene with Menendez in front of his legions feels something straight out of Yemen today. With the Houthis and the different wars and proxy wars and factions and infighting going on there. Wow. Very contemporary. It's exactly what's happening in the world today. You see some of this footage, it looks identical. Another thing this game totally predicted is the use of drones. While the drones today aren't as high-tech as what we see here, drone warfare has changed modern warfare.
Strength in numbers that Ukraine is a resourceful, determined enemy.
The Secretary of Defense in this game is David Petraeus, or General Petraeus, as he should probably be known. I sure am glad that he never became Secretary of Defense. That man's reputation and his extramarital affair, what a horrible guy. Terrible. General Petraeus. Ugh. To the dustbins of history he must go.
Emails to Broadwell's computer, where they found salacious and explicit emails between Broadwell and Petraeus that made it clear, say officials, that Broadwell and the nation's CIA director were having an affair. The 40-year-old Broadwell had extraordinary access to the 60-year-old general in Afghanistan as his official biographer, a plum assignment for a novice writer.
And I guess one thing this game got wrong is that there's a female president in 2025. I, for one, hate me for it, but I'm still glad we don't have a female president in 2025. Especially considering the one that ran last year.
You're considered the most liberal United States senator.
Somebody said that.
Madam President.
Haiti.
And again, diving into Haiti. Haiti, another region of the world that they don't teach you about it in high school here in the States, that the U.S. government occupied Haiti for decades. They really don't teach us about that. It happened. They really don't teach us much about anything that our government did in Latin America. The whole way they frame the Monroe Doctrine is that, the United States in its wisdom decided that it would protect Latin America from European invasion and colonization and interests. Sounds pretty benevolent. Maybe that was the original intent, but over time, components of the U.S. government decided that Europe had had their time in Latin America, and next, it was our turn now to meddle there, which we've been doing ever since. And in truth, I do find it interesting that given all the shady stuff the U.S. government has done in Latin America, there hasn't been a force of reckoning or opposition like Raul Menendez. Such terrorist ideology emerged from the Middle East, interestingly enough. And there's a whole other discussion there. Perhaps something to do with proximity and culture. Maybe it's been easier with Latin America being the United States' next door neighbor for us to impose our thoughts, our beliefs, our interests there. But the Middle East being so far removed geographically and culturally, we've had no success. Well, very limited success.
missiles!
And here we have Jimmy Kimmel. Although, given Jimmy Kimmel's method of comedy, shouldn't he be mad that the good guys won?
It was a terrible night for poor people, for the middle class, for seniors who rely on Social Security, for our allies in Ukraine, for NATO, for the truth and democracy and decency. And it was a terrible night for everyone who voted against him. And guess what? It was a bad night for everyone who voted for him, too. You just don't realize it yet. And most of all, it must be a great day to be here.
We all know that Jimmy Kimmel is the kind of person who wants the bad guys to win. Maybe that wasn't as obvious at the time of this game's release in 2012.